Welcome to the Pet Biz Project. Rachel, how are
Hey,
you?
good, thank you, Tarryn. What about yourself?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for
Thank
coming on the show. It took us a little while to coordinate things, but
It
we got
did.
there
It
and
did.
we got
Thank
our
you for having
recording
me.
going. No, that's great to have you here. So thanks for making the time. Look, I want to just jump straight into it with our listeners and just give everybody a bit of a background about, obviously, you're the owner of Houndstooth.
Yes.
And we'd love to hear a little bit about the journey and sort of what inspired you, first of all, to create that brand. So going right back to the beginning, and then sort of what has led you to this point that you're at now with Houndstooth.
Well, Tarryn, if I go right back to the beginning, we'll go back to my early childhood when I was passionate about animals, but particularly horses. I competed for many years at a national level in equestrian, in showing and dressage.
Yeah.
And wanted to study vet science, wanted to be an equine vet. But during my school years, I was fairly heavily focused on competing and just didn't quite get the marks to do that straight out of school.
Yeah.
And back in our day, I'll say that there wasn't any other pathways into getting to your course unless you went directly into it. So then anyway, I didn't do vet science, but still had a passion for animals. Um, about 20 plus years ago, probably 30 years ago, I got my first dog as an adult,
Yeah.
Hugo, who was a Staffy, and he had chronic skin issues for, his 14 years. And 20 or so years ago, there wasn't a lot of information about how to deal with these skin issues unless you were using medicated products
Mm.
like Maliceb and
Yeah. Yeah.
cortisone. He was on cortisone nearly all his life, which,
Mm.
um, we know a lot more now about the impact on that on dogs' immunity
Yeah.
and even their lifespan. So there wasn't many topical products. It was, I used to wash him in the QV cumin soap wash,
Wow.
which
Yeah.
okay, that worked for him, but
Mm.
that's not ideal either because it's
Yeah.
not really suitable for dogs.
Mm.
Anyway, so I had Hugo had a wonderful life, even though he had skin allergies, and I managed it. But um, after he passed away, I actually got Stella, which is his great grandniece, which is
Okay.
very lovely. And I was working in the pet industry then, so I actually was working for a company that employed me to develop their range of pet products and for the grocery industry, so Coles, Woolworths, etc., and loved developing products. And it brought me back to that caring, well-being of animals.
Yeah.
I got Stella, and I thought, oh, another Staffy. I don't want her to have the same issues that Hugo had.
Yeah.
And it was about at the time, this was 2017, that I thought, I got her in 2016, and I thought, now what, it was a good sort of career moment to think, what am I going to do? Would I start my own business?
Mm.
Um, and that sort of led me to the end of 2017. I thought, yes, time to move on and, take the jump,
Yeah.
start my own business. And so the real focus initially was start Houndstooth, develop a range of grooming products and topical products that I believe in that are going to target dogs with sensitive
Yeah.
skin, itchy skin, come from a natural side, natural approach. And, the second tier to that was always treating inside and out.
Mm.
And we learned, learning a lot with equestrian riding. We were always daily looking at what we're feeding the horses, what we're supplementing them with,
Yeah.
as well as what we were doing in terms of the grooming and the
The
education
sort
and
of
so forth.
holistic view to
A
health.
real holistic
Yeah.
approach,
Yeah.
which we are catching up on that
Mm.
approach with pets, and especially in the last probably 3 or 4 years,
Oh,
it's
so
changed,
huge.
yeah, dramatically. So that was, Stella, Hugo, they were the original inspiration,
Mm.
and where it's sort of, I've come full circle, sort of from then I studied natural animal nutrition,
Yeah.
and I feel as though, okay, I didn't go into vet science, but I've come to a place where I can still help animals from a natural and
Mm.
holistic approach. And yes, I just love it. I love it. I love the industry, but I also think that, um, I've had dogs, cats, horses, but
Yeah.
there's a real bond we form with dogs in particular that, as a pet, and a pet that lives with us on a
Mm.
daily basis, that's just irreplaceable.
It is, and it's that bond and that relationship that we form with our dogs that it's just they're family, and
Yes,
you want to do just like you would with children or anything like that. You want to do absolutely everything you can within your power to
yes,
give them the best life possible. And I
yes,
think it's becoming so acceptable now that we have those feelings and that bond, and that there are so many opportunities for us to find solutions to problems that we have. So
yes,
I
yeah.
mean, you've got such a strong brand identity with Houndstooth. Did that come about because of your experience with product development and the retail side of things?
Uh, it came about, so I always have my best thoughts in the shower.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
I have mine out walking.
Yeah, oh, sometimes out walking too, but I've
Yeah.
named my dogs. It's come to me in the shower, and then I was thinking, okay, what am I going to call this business? And I'm a big black and white person in terms of my interiors. I like the cleanliness of it,
Yeah.
um,
The simplicity.
the
Yeah.
simplicity, yes, and the elegance. Um, the houndstooth pattern, so obviously the houndstooth pattern is black and white.
Yeah.
The pattern has been around for many, 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 many years, very traditional, and it was actually developed on the canine tooth of the
Yeah.
hound,
Yeah.
and that's why it was called houndstooth. And I thought that's a really nice relationship to the name and the black and white. I
Yeah.
also used to compete in, it's very traditional when you're riding, showing horses, competing horses, that you used to have the jacket, the suit, the tie, the waistcoat. And the
Yeah.
waistcoat in some levels of competition had to be in houndstooth pattern, and it was my
Mm.
favourite. And then I thought, well, houndstooth, that's great, but how can I make it sound a little bit more modern? And that's why when I thought I'll change the S to the Z.
Yeah.
And then I found a fabulous graphic designer who understood my vision. Um, and I really said, look, I want to create a product that's not like every other product that you walk
Mm.
into your pet stores and there's colour and there's pictures of dogs, and it seems like it's been a similar packaging for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
which it had, look, packaging's come even a long way in since I
Just
started
for the last
Houndstooth and
couple of
looking,
years,
yeah,
it's
it
become a
is.
lot more.
It's much more, I
Yeah.
would say, modern, and
Mm.
even the use of colour is much better now.
Yeah.
So that's where I came at that it needed to look. I mean, it's a premium product, but I wanted it to look clean
Mm.
and not be competing on shelf space with all the noise.
Yeah.
So it was a strip back, and what you get is all natural ingredients, and
Yeah.
that is it. And there doesn't need to be all this blah 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 all over the packaging.
Yeah. And your product range, how did that develop over the years? Like, did you just start off with a couple of core products to start with and then roll out new ones, or did you come out with quite a large
I
range?
went in hard.
Yeah. Nothing like putting a bit of pressure on yourself.
I know. So I think that came from my experience with. So I was walking with Warpro, which had Joseph Liddy Equestrian at the time, still does, which was a long established brand. Their pet range, we developed grooming accessories, which included bowls, collars, and leads, and so forth. So I had a lot of experience in what needed to be done to get those to the market.
Yeah.
But initially, I went in with the grooming products. That was my first focus, and
Mm.
that was going to be the hero was having goat milk across all of the products. So there was the shampoos, the conditioning sprays, and then I had a topical spray for the skin. Uh, but I didn't think that was quite enough. Which, in hindsight, I'm like, it was enough.
Yeah.
So I also had bowls and beautiful bowls,
Yeah.
um, marble bowls, which I was the first one to bring or create a marble bowl for the Australian market.
Yeah.
And that came through contacts that I had in the interior design space.
Mm.
And they were beautiful, sold exceptionally well, and were, I think, the inspiration for the likes of Kmart and so forth that are doing the marble fake sort of copy
Yeah.
bowls now. And then I also wanted to do a beautiful range of leather collar and lead, and that came from my years of horse riding and working with leather bridles and saddles.
Yeah.
So I went and found Angus Barrett, who's an incredible um, leatherwork designer, craftsman
Yeah.
in Orange in New South Wales,
Oh,
and
great.
he did the collars and leads
Mm.
for me, which was fantastic. Um, so I launched with this range, sort of the grooming bowls. Oh, and I did some dog treats as well. Forgot about that. Some
Yeah.
which I just a lovely jerky, Australian made jerky treat.
Mm.
Um, so it was quite a packed range.
Yeah.
But the initial hero was the grooming products.
Okay.
And then in that year, 2018, when I launched, I actually went over to America and went to Super Zoo and spent time having a really good look around because I really wanted to move into supplements as well.
Mm.
And at that time, America would have been probably 4 or 5 years ahead of Australia. We were
Yeah.
just starting to sort of
Tap
play
into
in the
that.
supplement, tap
Yeah.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of how it's evolved, and it's just sort of evolved from there and
Mm.
refined and evolved and refined and evolved.
And then at what stage you also developed, was it no fuss toppers as well?
Yes,
What stage did that happen?
last year that
Okay.
was so. What I found that Houndstooth or myself, I've been very good at sort of, I'd say, bringing the first product to market,
Mm.
leading the way, which can be good. It's just sometimes you lack the educational piece.
Yeah.
So toppers are huge in the US and they're
Mm.
growing. Like the last 12 months,
Yeah.
they've grown significantly. Um, No Fuss came about through an opportunity with Coles. So I originally had a couple of the Houndstooth toppers in the Coles stores,
Yeah.
which was when I launched our meal toppers, and just again the educational, just not the right product for grocery.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I
Different,
looked at,
wrong audience sort of
yeah,
that
just
you're
a different
selling
audience
to.
and looked at
Yeah.
what I could do to keep the space in grocery, but
Yeah.
do different branding, different price point. And that was the generation of No Fuss. But again, just the top is just not right for grocery.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's was the development of No Fuss.
Yeah.
Um,
So you've
yeah,
had your products in a lot of like major retail stores, and you still do. Do you think your past experience with working with retail has helped you to
yes,
know how to get a foot in the door and know what they're looking for to be able to make that happen?
yes,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Because it's one of the things that a lot of business owners, when growing their business, really struggle with, that taking that step and knowing what to
yes.
do. So it's fantastic that you've been
Yes,
able to do
my
that.
look, my advice on that would
Hmm.
be that as a business starting out, if you can get on board with a distributor that you
Yeah.
think will help open those doors, that's probably a better way to
Rather than trying to
get the
do it yourself.
support.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if, if you can lean on any other founders like
Mm.
myself, if they're, I think if it's a non-compete product,
Yeah.
any help I can give people
Yeah.
to,
You're happy to
because we're
pass
all
on some
trying to
advice.
survive and there's
Yeah.
plenty enough market
I
and,
know.
and support each other. But
Yeah.
yeah, and you've got to be persistent.
Yes.
Once you're in
Have
the door,
a clear vision for
yeah,
where you're wanting to get to
yes,
with your
yes,
business, and that it is a viable business model, because I suppose there is a growing trend in brands that are just deciding not to go into big retail stores, just hone in on direct to consumer. and just
Yes,
go all in on that side of things. So it's not necessarily the right fit for every business, is it?
it's not. And you've got to be able to scale
Hmm.
the products. It takes a lot,
Very
if
quickly.
you've got, you know, two or three products that have gone into 200 stores,
Hmm.
you've got to be able to finance the
Meet the
stock.
demand. Yeah.
Yep. So that can cause another stress as well. It just depends, I guess, of the vision of the business and
Business
what
as a
support
whole.
you've got around you, what your cash
Yeah.
flow's like. Yeah.
I mean, you obviously have a lot of experience. And I suppose one of the things that I hear a lot from business owners is that we're living in a very fast paced world these days where you can't just stick with a certain business model and just know it's going to be okay for the next 5 years. We're pivoting all the time, we're coming up with new ideas. In your experience, it's difficult to know the time to like when it's time to pull the plug on a business idea and go, look, it's just not working. It's not viable. I just need to call it quits and move on, and go in a different direction. Or no, I need to double down and just push on through and really, make this work. In your experience, has there been any pivotal sort of moments or realizations or key metrics that you use that sort of help you to know whether it's worth pursuing and continuing on or whether just to give up and change tack?
I always look at sales as my first
Mm.
metric. If it's
Yeah.
not selling,
Yeah.
it's
What's the
not
point?
selling. But interesting you say that. So
Yeah.
on the flip side of that is our breath and oral health supplement
Mm.
was one of the first ones in the market that was a supplement.
Yeah.
Now that was ranged in retail. It was deranged because it didn't sell as much as it should have over the 12 months.
Yeah.
Since then, there's been a number of other companies that have produced a similar product, and
Yeah.
there's been more education around it.
Yeah.
Now that was marked for deletion, and now it's one of our best sellers.
Yeah.
So
And that's
sometimes you can
where
be too
education
early.
comes into it.
Education.
Just yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is hard as a small business
Yeah.
to get, you've all that education out as one
Mm.
person. It's got to be it's sort of a unified sort of education across the industry.
Yes.
But definitely, yes, if things aren't selling, that for me is,
Yeah.
you know, is it something
And it
you
might
want
be
to
the
continue with?
audience, like
Can be
the
the
audience that you
audience.
have it in front of isn't
Yes,
necessarily like you were saying with No Fuss and Coles, like it's not that it's not a viable product and not a viable growth to it, but it's
yes,
just been placed in front of the wrong audience at the wrong place, wrong time sort of thing.
yes, yes.
Um, so yeah, I suppose it's those kinds of things where you can't just rely on sales as a metric to go whether I cut this or keep it. It's looking at many different factors
It
that come into
it
play.
is, yes. And
Yeah.
you've got to, I mean, it's a lesson that you've got to sort of take away and think, okay, you get the wrong audience, the wrong market, maybe not enough education.
Yeah.
Um, is it better to distribute it elsewhere? Pull the pin,
Yeah.
re look at it, formulate it, so forth. But look, touch wood, I haven't had too many mistakes like that.
Have there been, like, especially in the last 5 years, have there sort of been any moments where you have sort of, thought, oh, I would have done that differently, or I maybe,
Yeah, like
made a decision too quick or something on that?
definitely wouldn't have introduced so many products at the start. That would have
Mm.
been, I would have stuck with the grooming and
And then
focused
drip
on,
fed the
just
new ones
focused on
in.
that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think sometimes having a broad range like that can dilute your resources to different
Yeah.
categories. It's very easy to just promote if you're just selling grooming products. That's all you're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, so that's sort of, it's actually been, so the last 12 months has been tough in retail for everyone,
Yes.
big boys as well as the small
Mm.
businesses as well. But it actually puts that pressure has given me time to think, okay, what's not working, what is working, um, where you actually allocate the resources, because it's
Yeah.
really important. Um, and what does Houndstooth represent? What does it represent to me? And where do I want to move forward with it?
Yeah.
So, as much as it's stressful when sales aren't coming through the door like they usually
Yeah.
do, it's still a really good time to reevaluate where you're heading and
Yeah.
what is important to me as well as what's important to the Houndstooth customer.
And it's like any challenge in life, isn't it? When we're not getting sales, or there's a significant drop in sales, it makes us stop and think, well, how could I do things differently? How could I do
Yes,
things better? What needs to change to move the needle in the right direction? And it's quite often that's when the most innovative ideas come for businesses, is when they're
yes,
going through a struggling point. That's actually, the border of that transformation for, going in a new direction or coming up with a new idea. So,
yes. And try not to, it's, as a founder, is not to have an emotional attachment to products.
yeah,
Or your
very
customers,
difficult.
which your customers do too.
Yeah,
Okay, product A, you think, gee, it's not selling as well, as maybe that's not the right way to go, and then you've got all these customers saying, I love product A, don't delete
yeah,
it, it's wonderful, and I think, yeah, I know, but it's just not quite doing what I need it to be doing,
yeah,
and you put a lot of time and effort into it, but you've got to just emotionally think, no, if I
yeah.
was
It's a
just
business
looking at the
decision.
numbers,
Yeah,
this is what the numbers would tell me. Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
And I suppose on that topic, it's a huge mental load for business owners in that leadership role, especially of a business that's, as large and successful as yours. How do you navigate that sort of burnout and that emotional
Um,
decisions that have to be made? Like, it is tough being a business owner in this environment, especially at the moment.
yes. And it's hard being, I'm mostly on my own
Mm,
in the business, so it can be tough.
okay.
I do make sure, so I've still got a daughter that's at school.
Mm,
So, school pickups 3:30,
yeah.
and I leave the office and pick her up. And then I think she really made it, especially in the first few years. She'd say, "Oh, Mum, you're working at night, or all night," and she was needing me to help her with her studies, and that was a really good, I guess, wake up or moment that I thought, no,
Mm,
actually, it's more important to spend that time with her,
yeah.
and if I need to catch up on the weekend for a few hours, I do that.
Yeah.
So look, I think I'm quite good at managing my time. It's the decision making that I've got a supportive family that I can, you know, pick up the phone to them and say, I'm thinking about this. What do you think?
Yeah.
Um, Otherwise, I'm fairly good at making the decisions for myself.
Do you invest in like mentors and business coaches and things like
I
that, or do you
have,
typically just figure it out yourself?
I do figure it out myself. I had a management, like consulting company.
Hmm.
It I think I had them on board for about 12 months. Just trying to think of that, but a
Yeah.
couple of years ago, and they were really great just to bring in a different vision.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think it's, for me, I like the decision making.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's part of the
I like
process,
it is
isn't it?
part of the
Of trying
process.
to figure it
Yes,
out yourself. Yeah.
yes.
And you said you don't have a very big team, is that right? How do you all operate so
No, so
efficiently?
uh, it's that's another thing, I guess, in saying what would change. So
Hmm.
not having the amount of resources is probably what restricts you in some ways.
Yeah.
I was it was just literally the week of COVID that I was about to employ my first full-time employee to come on
Yeah.
board, and I put it, luckily enough, there was someone I knew quite well, and I said, look, we've just got to put this on hold. I don't know where things are going.
Yeah.
There was all this scare, you
Yeah.
couldn't have anyone
Everybody
in
went
the
into
house, and
scarcity
oh my
mode.
God,
Yeah.
you couldn't look out your front door, and it
Yeah.
was such a stressful time.
Hmm.
So I parked to that, and I think that really changed the trajectory of the business, because
Right.
that went on for 12 months, then it went on for
Yeah.
2 years almost. Still, even though the pet industry boomed, there was still for me, a reservation of like, oh, what's going to happen after
Yeah.
with business. So I've got a sales rep that has been working for me. She's
Mm,
1 day a week, which is
okay.
great. She does
Right.
all our retailers and staff training and merchandising.
Yeah.
She's been with me for quite a long time. And then I use consultants like freelancers to do.
Yeah.
Got an amazing bookkeeper that's been with me since day one,
Great.
a marketing girl, social media and so forth, digital
Yeah.
agency. And
Yeah.
that I think works if you don't want the responsibility of employees.
Yes. Yeah. And I have to say, that's one of the main challenges that I'm hearing from business owners, right, just in the last couple of months, is, around managing team. And I suppose the work ethic of many people that
Mm,
they do get onto the team, then finding that they're not, they promise the world but then don't deliver.
yes,
And I suppose also with AI evolving so rapidly that business owners are finding I can be doing one thing over here while I've got some AI tool doing everything over this way. And,
yes,
we can operate a lot more efficiently and effectively in that way. So, yeah, I do think the whole way in which businesses operate with having a team is changing a lot. Like we even ourselves, we leverage, freelancers a lot,
yes,
and find it fantastic. You develop some good relationships that you can
yes,
rely on those people without having to have those overheads of a full-time, team
yes,
that
yes,
you're, having to, maybe cut people if it sales go down. So I
yes,
think it's just, it's working out what's right for your individual business, and that's different for everybody. But there's certainly, I don't think there's that correlation that there used to be where people are like, oh, you're successful if you have a big team.
no,
Like if you
I
have this
agree.
massive
Yes,
office and,
yes,
big team, and that means you're successful. It's like, well, no,
yes,
actually, these days, if you can operate really lean and
lean.
efficiently,
Mm,
that's actually more of a sign of success. So,
yes, yes,
yeah, it's
yeah.
interesting how the world's evolving.
It is, it is. Yeah.
And I
There's been a
suppose,
lot of changes even
yeah,
I think that has come out of COVID too,
yeah, yeah.
even the working
The remote
environment.
working environment's
Yes.
become so
Yeah,
much more acceptable, hasn't it? And people have found that
absolutely.
it works, that,
Yes.
there's pros and cons to both being in an office and remote workers. But
Yes.
yeah, I do think if you got good leadership skills and you know how to incentivize and to motivate your team,
Yes.
in a remote way, then it can definitely work. So, yeah, it's funny how things are changing, isn't it? I suppose that brings me on to my next question was around retail. Like as you said, we're seeing a big shift in downturn in retail, not just for the small guys, but
Yes.
the big guys too. Do you think that's something that's going to continue to be like a big downturn, or is it just evolving and we're changing our purchasing
That's
sort of
that's
behavior?
a really interesting topic.
I know.
You're
I'm
right.
trying to
Stick with
understand
it.
it as well, but it's
Um, I think I look, I think the bigger players are getting bigger.
mm,
I think it's very hard for the independent pet stores.
yeah,
Uh, but hmm, and I'm thinking from the customer side too. There's a customer that looks for convenience.
yeah,
Now, Pet Barn are on Uber Eats. I
yeah,
actually tried them out the other. I needed to order some dog food,
yeah.
and I
Give it a
thought
go.
I know what I want, so I go
Mm,
on there and buy.
mm,
If I didn't know what I want, then I'd love to go into the store and talk to someone,
yeah.
research online. Um, yeah, I don't look. I don't know. I
Just,
have a mix of
yeah,
purchasing myself
yeah.
and um, going in store. I think is great if you actually can rely on getting the right advice.
Mm.
Um, if you're
Yeah.
looking for that advice, I think people probably, if they make up their mind about a product, then will search online for the best price on that day.
Mm.
Then you've got the loyal customers who just continue to order directly from Houndstooth.
Yeah, and
That
then,
what
love a subscription or something and
yes,
set it up and
yes.
just set and forget. And
And
I,
that's great. I do that with some dog food as well, and I think
yeah,
it's just perfect. Yeah, I look,
because I know from my own experience, like not just with pets, but with myself, like the reason I would go into retail stores and actually go shopping is to try things on, to get the feel
yes,
of it, to actually see what it's like, in person, rather than just relying on some images or some video online. But I'm finding more and more when I go into retail stores for myself, there aren't the staff there that there used to be to answer
yes,
questions or provide advice and things like that. It's very empty. It's
yes,
like they've obviously cut costs by getting rid of a lot of staff and maybe just having one person on the checkout or something.
yeah,
And I just think that that is obviously financially, stores are needing to do that,
yes,
but it's not helping them to survive, because that's one of the reasons people would go in, is to get that support in their purchasing decision. So for me personally, it's pushing me to go online more and to do a hell of a lot more research about what I'm going to buy before I buy it. And then I might,
yes,
might be more likely to take the risk of just buying it online with a good returns policy if I need it in
yes,
place. But it's funny how yeah, there's definitely, I think, consumer behavior is changing dramatically in a very rapid rate right now. And it's just, like with the AI tools available now, where, you can take an image of your dog and then try different coats on the
I
dog,
know,
just
I know,
online and things like that.
yes.
It's just the same as picking clothing for humans. So,
Mm.
yeah, it is
And I think
rapidly
it depends
evolving.
on the staff. Like,
Mm,
you, once you'd walk into a pet store and you'd think, okay, are all the staff educated on all the products in here, on what's going to be most suitable
yeah,
for my dog? Um, and some are, but some, there's a high turnover of staff in some of the stores.
yeah,
Um, are they going to recommend what the product that was front of mind because the rep was in this morning or something
yes,
like that? Is it going to be the best product? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I definitely think the houndstooth customer is well educated in
mm,
what product they think will be best for their pet.
yeah,
Um, and yeah, so you're only as really good as what the if they don't know your brand, as
yeah.
what the person on the floor is recommending. Um,
And
so
how do you, with
yeah,
Houndstooth, how do you go about education? Like, what have you found is the best way for you to get education across to consumers about your products?
um, definitely. I answer. So we have any email that comes in asking
Mm.
about product is usually myself answering it.
Yeah,
And I love that. I love being able to talk
yeah,
directly to the customer that's come in asking, my dog suffers from this, what do you recommend? Or I've bought your product, can I give it to my cat? I've bought this product, how much do you recommend to give them this, their weight? But and we have an open conversation
mm,
and that I think is you can't replace talking directly to the founder and the person that's developed the product and has got the expertise.
yeah,
Um, Social media is really good. Um, Website, well, I've got a lot of blogs, a lot of articles on my website and put a
yeah.
lot of time into that. Dr. Katrina Warren has been our brand ambassador um, for 4 years. A
Mm.
lot of good educational pieces that
She's
she did
great.
through her channels
Yeah.
as well as online. And I love talking, like being at events is really good.
Mm.
The Dog Lover Show is, I haven't done it the last couple of years, but looking to do that again this year. But I've done between Melbourne and Sydney, I think it's 8 shows or something. And that one on one with the customer is fantastic.
Yeah.
Really is.
I mean, even if you go into those shows, the festivals and things, without the intent of, necessarily sales being the ultimate outcome you're trying to achieve from it, but just the feedback and the community engagement that you get from people, I suppose, hearing what they're looking for and um,
yes.
what they
Yeah.
think of the products and things like that is so
Yes.
valuable. Mm.
Yes, and look, I'm just about to start working on a new website, which will be even more educational. So
Yeah.
that's going to be really exciting in the next few months.
Because
Because
you've been doing a lot more of the social media side of things yourself
yes, trying to
recently,
yes,
haven't you? Which is
yes,
great. Yeah.
yes. So that's been a strategy is to get be more present in social media, which
Mm.
I really enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, good,
Just
because
finding
not many do.
time to actually get to do it right.
I know, and it's yeah, holding yourself accountable to just get it done because it's
Yes,
one of those things you can put off.
yes.
Um, but that's
Yes, it
good that
becomes
you
low
enjoy
priority
it
sometimes, but
because there's
yeah,
very few people I meet that enjoy it. So,
yes,
but I think it's so important. Like going back to AI again, it's so easy now for people to just churn out huge amounts of content.
yes, it
And
is.
that's not necessarily helping brands because they're just becoming this faceless, nameless sort of
Agree.
content generation tool, which anybody can do.
Mhm.
It's the brands where I find the owner, the founder, is like stepping out there and connecting with their audience and taking on that personal responsibility of education that just builds such a powerful loyalty with people
Yes,
because they know, like, and trust you. They know that you get what their animals are going through, the challenges that they're experiencing with their most valuable
yeah,
people in
it
their
is.
lives is their
Yes,
pets, quite
absolutely.
often.
Um,
And to
yes,
know that you get that is just like
yes, yes.
personally is hugely valuable.
And look, I just leading on that. I know we'll probably go off topic a bit, but what I do like is I like to be able to offer advice without judgment.
Mm.
There's a lot of
No
um,
shaming. Yeah. Yeah.
confusing messaging on social media. Unfortunately, social media gives everyone a voice, good and bad. There's a lot of criticism, don't feed your dog kibble.
Yeah.
If you want your dog to live longer, don't do this. Don't. And I thought, whoa,
Yeah.
everyone has different circumstances.
Yeah.
They're trying to do the best they can for their animal
Yeah.
given their circumstances. And yes, you can educate them around making different choices, but it's got to fit within their budget, within their lifestyle,
Yeah.
got to suit the dog's diet. I've got one dog that can't have raw food. She throws up every time she
Yeah.
eats raw. So there's a lot of different reasons for people to choose what they're doing with their animal. Um,
Yeah. And
and yeah, I
everybody's
think
at a
there's a lot of
different,
judgment out there.
there is a huge amount, and everybody's at a different point on the
Yeah.
journey.
Yes.
Like what I did with my girl Ash when she was a puppy was very different to what I was doing with her when she's like 14. It's
Yes.
just, and that was because of my education and understanding along the way, the research I did, the trying different things and finding what worked for her and what didn't. Like it's
Yes.
just, you can't judge people because yeah, they're just at a different point to you on the
Correct.
journey, maybe. And
Correct.
it's
Yeah.
just meeting them where they're at, getting where they're at, and just showing that you're there to provide any
Yes.
support and
Yes.
understanding, making them feel heard and seen.
Yes.
So them are the most
Yeah.
powerful things you can do to build that relationship.
Yes. Yes.
But I 100% agree with you. There is a lot of shaming going on out
Lot.
there on social media, and it's just,
Lot.
yeah,
Yes.
not
Yes.
good.
Yeah. A lot, which is
Yeah.
yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's the
Yeah.
way it is.
That's the world we live in,
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it is.
at
It
the moment.
is.
Um,
Yes.
But I suppose talking about social media, the generational shift that's happening, in terms of Gen Z and young millennials and we're seeing birth rates dropping dramatically in Australia, particularly, and other countries as well, where younger people are deciding to maybe delay or not have children at all, and instead they are having more pets in their home instead, which
Yes.
means they have a larger amount of disposable income maybe to spend on those pets than maybe previous generations did that had children as well.
Yes.
But I mean, how do you see that reshaping the industry? Do you think, that's starting to take effect as well?
I think so. I definitely look. I even saw that starting to come in the first 2018, 2019 dog lover show that
Yeah.
I did, which had most of the grooming products, a few supplements. It was that younger generation that look early 20s, so maybe they're mid 20s now,
Mm.
the couples that had a dog or might have been getting a dog, that are coming in, picking up the product, reading what was on it, turning it around, reading, educating themselves.
Yeah.
And I even look at my daughter, she's nearly 16. Her generation, everything is online.
Yeah.
All their purchases is online,
Mm.
and they educate themselves. They look at reviews.
Yeah.
What's on TikTok?
Yeah. User-generated content.
User-generated content, but
Yeah.
social influencers,
Mm.
rightly or wrongly.
Yeah.
Um, so I think there's a lot that comes down to review-based.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure as much word of mouth or whether that's still sort of more our generation. You go to
Yeah, the
the dog
dog
park, you
park
have a
and
cat.
the
Yeah,
beach and
someone's
chatting
yes,
to someone.
yes, yep. And
Yeah.
but I think they are more educated there in terms of trying to find out the whys and hows of the product. But I
Yeah.
also think that generation likes to be caught up in the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Definitely. And
yeah,
that's where the founder aspect
why?
comes into it
Yes,
so powerfully, is like what you're doing with getting out on social media and sharing who you are and the story behind the brand, and then educating around the products.
yes,
It really does connect with both the older demographic and the younger demographic. That's why I think it is just so hugely powerful for businesses to be doing. So,
yes,
and
yes,
I suppose like the younger generation, I find as well as so researched to the nth degree the ethics and the sustainability and the,
yes.
sourcing of the ingredients and things like that, don't they? They're not so gullible, should I say, in terms of just sometimes the ingredients list on the back and just
They're very
taking it
much.
for granted that it's okay. They'll actually really
They
investigate.
will research,
Yeah.
and they have, I can't think of the name of the app that they can use, that they can scan
Mm.
barcodes and find out
Yeah.
what the ingredients are, what the app, whether
Yeah,
it's
I can't think of
biased
the
or
name.
non-biased, but
Yeah.
what it recommends in terms of is that harmful chemical ingredient, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But yes, they do, like even in packaging, they're looking for more sustainability, the sourcing of the ingredients.
Mm.
That I remember the days when we didn't even have a recycling bin. So
I
for
wish you knew
us,
our age then.
yeah, I know, right, I know, but that's how far we've come.
Yeah,
Really,
I
you
know.
know,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
different world.
There's
Yeah,
still a lot of clever marketing around packaging, though. But I think this generation
yeah.
will um, know more and understand more, which
Well,
is
there's
good.
been that huge wave of greenwashing, hasn't there, by
Yes,
all those sort of big corporates and that jumping on the sustainability and eco-friendly sort of bandwagon for marketing purposes. But I think I'm certainly seeing a little bit of a shift in that they're not getting away with it like they used
no,
to. Everybody's
no,
becoming a little bit more conscious and aware and a bit more savvy in terms of researching, well, where
yeah,
does the money go when I purchase this product? Who's it
yes,
actually going to?
yes,
Is it like, a small business, founder operated still, or is it some big corporation that actually you've got to look like five corporates down the line to find out who actually owns it?
yes, yes, yes.
And it's one
And
of the
it's
big players.
evolving. It's evolving for
Mm.
even ourselves. Just looking at packaging, what we were packaging in 5 years ago, is that still the right packaging? Is it still
Yeah.
sustainable? You also, I went through it, looking at different packaging for the meal toppers
Mm.
to what they're in at the moment. Um, and at the end of the day, you've got to protect the integrity of the product,
Yeah.
as well as, if you're selling into retail, is making sure that the packaging's suitable for the retail stores, whether
Yeah.
it's, shelf space, hang sell, things like that. So you are
Mm.
dictated, if you're not just selling online, by
Yeah.
retail fit as well. Yeah, so
And then
it's,
you've got things like you're also on Amazon and those kind
yes,
of product marketplaces and things like that. So do you have to take that into consideration as well? Or is that just sort
yeah,
of fall under the sort of online e-commerce space?
online, yes,
Yeah.
yes, it does.
Mm.
Yeah,
And have
yeah.
you had a good experience with getting your products out there on Amazon and the different
Amazon's been
marketplaces?
yeah, the last 6 months is just, the growth in Amazon is
Mm.
fantastic.
Well, it's just such an easy one-stop shop
It
for everybody,
is,
isn't it? So
yes.
you can't blame people for,
I
going
use it
that route.
myself,
Yeah.
to be
And if you've
honest.
got like Prime membership and things, you just get
Yes.
such quick,
Ha
easy,
something delivered
delivery.
tomorrow. If
Yeah.
it's, you know, I had a kettle that broke.
Yeah. And you
An
just need
expensive
something
one
really
that I
fast.
loved,
Yeah.
and I'm like, what can I do without a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Forgetting that I can actually use the microwave and think I'm not a big
Yeah.
microwave user.
No,
And
you
I'm
can
like,
use a
"Oh
stove
my god,
top or
oh my
something
god,
like
I
that to
could use a
boil
stovetop."
water.
I had a blonde moment going, "Oh my god, I haven't got a kettle." Anyway, I jumped on Amazon and it was there the next morning, and I'm like, "Oh, it's so easy."
Yeah.
Um, so look, I think Amazon, we supply into the warehouse in Amazon. We don't do drop shipping,
Yep.
and that works really well. Um, but it's a fairly look, it's it's hard to compete in that space unless you've got all the bells and whistles, and
Every other box
it
tick.
does well, but it's a competitive space and it's a very unemotional
Yeah.
place,
Yeah. Well, that's
really.
where it's very different, isn't it? To like to
Yes,
Shopify or WooCommerce site
yes,
or something like that, where you can have that emotional drivers. You can have the education and the personalization in the shopping
yes,
experience. Whereas, yeah, Amazon, you're more just, okay, they know they want it, they're going and buying it, they're just getting it with all their other things,
correct.
getting
Yeah.
quick delivery.
And
So,
I look at reviews on it. Like, so for buying the kettle, I
yeah,
actually took my time and thought, right, I'm going to read the reviews. So I
yeah,
went
I
with a
always
brand that I
use.
knew, but
Yeah.
and the reviews, because that's you haven't got a lot to rely on with
No,
Amazon. Is
no, but it is because it is such a huge marketplace, you do
yes,
have an enormous amount of reviews. So you can get a very clear picture.
yes,
There's not those sort of bias or spikes that,
correct,
it's
correct. Yeah,
just because there are so many, you can get a
yes,
very clear understanding of what it is that you're
yeah.
purchasing. So it's
And the
really,
conveniences. That's
can't
cost
beat
and
it.
convenience is the main reason I'd say
Mm.
people are purchasing
Yeah.
through Amazon.
And I suppose with AI and ChatGPT, are you using things like
Oh
that? Are they
yes,
helping you to be able to
my best
operate more
friend.
efficiently? We've all just got that little, it's like having it sit on your shoulder,
It
isn't
is, it
it?
is. Yes, that's my stuff.
You go to.
I know. It's probably underpaid.
Yeah.
Um, yes, I use it. I use it a lot.
Mm.
I actually went into a course last week that the City of Stonington ran on
Oh, yeah.
AI and digital
Great.
uh, for the business entrepreneur.
Yeah.
My look, I love it. My concern is protection of privacy.
Yeah.
It's really, how much do you put on there?
Yeah. And IP as well, your intellectual
Yes, yes,
property, it's like
yes.
nothing's
So I'm
sacred
cautious.
anymore, is it? You just
No,
everything
no. But
out
I
there
think I
for,
think it's a very powerful tool.
yeah.
Um, and it's yeah, that you can't replace things that I might have like pictures, presentations, things like that, popping my ideas and say, can you please just put this in a um, presentation,
Yeah.
and it'll spit something out in 2 seconds, literally.
Yeah.
Or website, I'll put in website. Can you, look at, say, all the dog treats in Australia and tell me where the
Mm.
gaps are, things like that.
Yeah.
You've got to
Data
be still
analysis, isn't
sift
it?
through it and go,
Yeah.
okay, does that make sense to me? Being in,
Yeah.
but it's quite interesting. You go, oh. It can be very positive, though. I try and, like everything I say to it, it thinks I'm wonderful.
Yeah.
You've
It's
got
very
to
polite.
realise that.
Very polite, isn't it? And the
Very
tone of voice is sometimes like, okay, I'm just going to just
yes.
chill it out a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's a wonderful idea,
Would you?
to
Yeah.
take over the world. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I find it is an amazing, like you still have to put the right inputs in. You
Yes,
still got to have that like 5 or 10% that you're sort of guiding and
very
directing
much.
and putting your experience and knowledge and stuff into it.
Yes,
Then it does the 80% of the work that we used to have to, do. And then
yes,
it's really just tweaking and optimizing and, getting it just right how you want it at the end. So it just saves us I'd say like we're doing 20%, it's doing 80%
yes,
at times.
yes.
Would you think how much that's changed in just this year? like how it's going to
Hugely.
rapidly
I
change
know.
going forward. It is
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, just don't think about it too much. It's too scary where it's going. But
Yes.
I do think it's at the moment it's an amazing tool. But I'm finding there's a lot of overwhelm. Both, I've experienced it myself, but also business owners I'm speaking to that they feel inadequate, that they should know more about all the AI tools that are out there and how to use them and how to leverage them in their business. But you have to be doing that all day, every day to try and keep up with what's
Yes.
available
Yeah.
to you. I think you've
It's
just got to think, what are those key things that you're spending a lot of time on that you don't want to be doing? And maybe
yes.
researching, well, are there AI solutions there that can help me, reduce the amount of time I have to spend on those activities or get rid of them completely?
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah.
otherwise,
It's
you just
quite.
get overwhelmed.
Look, I found it a wonderful tool, but I don't think it'll be that long before we actually do have robots cleaning the house, and
Oh no. Well, I mean, we've
which I
already got
find
the
is
little
yeah, they've got the
vacuum
little.
cleaners, haven't we? And the lawn mowers and stuff like that, all robot.
Yes, the presentation that I went to, or the yeah presentation last week on AI, the
Mm.
presenter showed a video of Uber
Yeah.
air taxis,
Yes. Yeah.
um, and I think it was, it's probably generated through AI, but
Yeah.
tall, skyscrapers and traveling by these little
Yeah.
helicopters and parking there, and it looked so sci-fi. That made me feel very sad. I thought, I
Yeah.
hope I'm not around for that. I
No,
just thought, what are we doing to this world?
I know we're not thinking of the
We've
consequences. We're
moved
just
so
on this
far away
rapid
from nature.
cycle. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It is very sad. And like things
Yeah.
like with Tesla and the driverless cars, that are already operating in New York City and things like that. There's huge opportunities because people will be able to like use the car when they want to use it, and then when they're
Yes.
not wanting to use it, they can send it out to be a Uber and
Yes.
earn money through it. So we'll have these opportunities to have, income from many different sources, but you just wonder at what cost, like it's just going to go in a way that
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
frightening.
Well, it's out of
Huge cost.
control, sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
I say bring back the horse and cart.
yeah.
That's what I felt like when I was watching this, and I thought that's really sad. And
Yeah.
I hope it's not even around for my daughter's time, because I just think it just doesn't look like the world anymore.
No. And you wonder if the Amish had it right, sort of thing,
Yes, I know.
detaching from technology way back
I
then.
know,
It's like,
right? Yes, yes,
yeah. So I
yes.
don't know.
I
It's
know.
it's interesting, but it's also, I agree, a little bit scary. But
Yes,
I suppose we just have to keep moving forward best we can
yes,
as we
yes.
go
Very,
forward in
very
life.
true.
So I suppose here at Pet Bears Project, we're very much about building meaningful relationships with pet parents. It's not about marketing. It's about, well, how can I add value to pet parents' lives? How can I give them the support and an understanding that they need to be able to find solutions for their pets when they're experiencing problems? So, what are some of the best ways that you've found with Houndstooth in your own experience with pet brand working, owning a pet brand? What's been some of the best ways that you've built meaningful relationships with pet parents?
Uh, Through communication, direct
Yeah.
communication, giving them a brand. One of our key things that when we look at our marketing strategy or business, what
Mm.
does Houndstooth represent? And trust
Yeah.
is one of the key words that keeps coming up. So I think it's giving them the information, whether that be across socials, website, on the product, EDMs,
Yeah.
our presence in the retail market, our presence at pet events, dog events,
Yeah.
is to give them a contact with someone like myself, or even about my rep that actually has a wealth of information, believes in the product, and gives them a link to sort of that trust that we wouldn't recommend something that we wouldn't use on our own
Yeah.
pets, and um, I would treat your animal the same as what I treat my own animal.
Mm.
So I think that builds the relationships. I've got reached out, the first Dog Lover show, I reached out to the Instapoochers. It was the first time they had the Instapooch stage where they
Yeah.
have a group of, I think there was about 20 dog influencers.
Yeah.
And there's about 6 or 7 of them that from that original reach out that tried my grooming products that I still have on board
Wow.
and believe in Houndstooth, work with me. They
Yeah.
come to my photo shoots. It's the trust has been formed over the quality of product to start off with, and me forming a relationship with them. Yeah.
That's
So,
fantastic.
and I think that's building for me, building the relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know how hard it is to
Yes.
sometimes keep relationships going with influencers, it can
Yes.
be very difficult. So,
Yeah.
so how did you do with that with the influencers? You've just kept up
I
really
just
regular
Yeah,
contact?
so I originally went out to them across Instagram and said, "Hi, I'm going to be at the dog show. I'm launching this product.
Mm.
Would you like to try the product before the show?
Yeah.
And then give me your feedback, talk about it at the show, etc., etc." And out of 24, I think there would be about 15 that came back and said yes. They wanted to know more about the product and
Yeah.
said yes. And they so through the show, it's the best thing I could have done. Everyone kept saying to them, "What are you using on your dog's coat?" And, "Oh my God, the
Yeah.
dog smells so good, looks so good. Oh, it's this new product, Houndstooth." So they'd all come over to the stand
Yeah.
and that just evolved. And then they were in the Sydney show and we worked together then. And then I thought,
Great.
okay, maybe the ones that I think I've got a really good alignment with myself, because I
Mm.
think that's really important to actually be able to work with the dog owners.
Yeah.
Um, they all came on board on like a contract as brand ambassadors,
Okay.
and been on and off. Um, some of them are still formal ambassadors, but
Mm.
otherwise, we've just got a relationship where I supply them product and
They help out.
yeah, they help. Yeah, they believe in the product so much. So,
That's
and it's
great.
been we've formed really nice relationships. We
Yeah.
catch up outside of
Yeah.
doing the pet events.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of relationship's really valuable.
Fantastic. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great tips. Thanks for sharing
Yes,
those.
that's okay.
So tell me, what's next for you? Like, what have you got planned coming up?
Uh, well, interesting. Well, new website, which is going to be exciting because I think
Yeah.
the website platforms have changed since my
Yeah.
website's 2018 and it has evolved, but
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
So much
more
more you can do now.
e-commerce
Yeah. Yeah.
focused. We've still been the Houndstooth aesthetic and
Mm.
educational piece around that,
Yep.
and expand the health and wellness area of the business. So through the health supplements,
Mm.
I'm also working on the grooming products. I've been working on a new ingredient which I think will be really exciting, which targets the skin and the skin microbiome. So,
Okay.
some exciting stuff coming.
Fantastic.
Mm,
I can't wait to see it. I'll be
thank
watching.
you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Rachel. Well,
Thanks.
if anybody wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
The best way is to email. So you
Yeah.
can either email support@houndstooth.com.au or
Great.
Rachel,
Fantastic.
RACHAEL @houndstooth.com.au.
Great. We'll pop those in the show notes
Great.
anyway, if anybody's wanting to get in touch with you through that. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much for coming on the show
Pleasure.
today.
Thank you
I've
for having me.
absolutely loved having a chat. I could sit here all day chatting, to
Yes,
be honest.
you do.
But we've got work to do, haven't we? So
We
we need to
have, yeah.
get back to it.
Yes.
But thank you so much for being on the Pet Biz Project show.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks. Bye.